What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? Welcome back. We got another great issue here of Kerrang. And look who's on the cover. We got Judas Priest. You know the drill. Just click subscribe, hit that notification bell, and leave any questions, comments, or feedback below. Let's get started. No more talking. Tony, you talk too much. No. You talk too much, bitch. All right, let's get to it. Look, we got issue number 20, July 15th through the 28th of 1982. And look who is reigning supreme in 82. You got Van Halen, AC/DC, and look, now you got Rob Halford. And I believe this is from Taken. Remember that live awesome concert recorded in Memphis, Tennessee? Judas Priest. It's on YouTube, and it was on MTV, and it's the Screaming for Vengeance tour. And this is the look of Rob Halford on that Screaming for Vengeance tour. Probably their best album, in my opinion. Screaming for Vengeance. When that album was released, it was like, whoa, this is heavier than anything at that time for Judas Priest, and it was awesome. So this magazine, we're gonna basically flip through it and see what's in it and glance through it. And real quick, any interviews that you want me to cover in another video or follow-up, I'll be happy to do that in another video of the interviews. All right, here's Judas Priest exclusive interview. See, look, you may be interested in what they were talking about. We're going to have the Stones for the Rolling Stones, Saxon, Demon. Again, I've never heard of Demon. Angel, is that Angel Witch or Angel? Who knows? The Who, remember The Who? They made a comeback in 1981-82. Also, they were live on MTV weekend concerts. Motorhead, Phil Lynott, Mick Box, Cheetah, Hanoi Rocks, and what's Adam Ant doing in Kerrang? See, this is a heavy metal magazine. So what's Adam Ant doing? Well, he is from the UK, so that tells me they probably caught him off guard and interviewed him. So let's go ahead and open her up. All right, remember we always have mayhem. There's no mayhem in this one. Look, starts this week the official heavy metal charts, specially compiled for Kerrang from a nationwide survey of 50 specialist shops. Singles. The number, so these are their top singles: AC/DC, Leonard Skinner, Asia, The Rods, Joan Jett, and the Blackhearts, Iron Maiden. Their top albums, you got Robert Plant, Kiss, Raven, Aldo Nova. Remember Aldo Nova? We got Iron Maiden, Anvil, Asia, Saxon, 38 Special, Kansas, Motley Crue, Too Fast for Love. That was a good album, but they blew up with Shadow the Devil. And that was going to be released next year in 83 and then blow everybody away. Yep, remember the three bands: Def Leppard, Quiet Riot, and Motley Crue. Perfect timing for 80s heavy metal. It exploded. And the US Festival. Go look on YouTube, the US Festival, Heavy Metal Day, and just look at the energy and the crowd for Motley Crue, Quiet Riot, Van Halen, Scorpions. Look at the energy. Alright, we got Girl School, Rage, Ted Nugent, AC/DC, REO Speedwagon. They were huge in 81, 82 with High Fidelity. I love that album. Look, you got Don Dokken, Breaking the Chains by Carrere. So this is before Breaking the Chains. So he was known as Don Dokken, the band, and George and Jeff Pilson and Mick Brown said, we're going to be called Dokken or something else, not Don Dokken. So they changed Don Dokken to Dokken. And of course, he had to copy Van Halen for the last name. That's total copy ripoff. All right, Tigers and Pantang. Again, these are all the singles and import albums. You got Kansas, Too Fast for Love, Motley Crue, Ted Nugent, REO. You got Survivor, Hunt, April Wine, Mayday. I can't read that one. Piper? It's too small. The font is too small. But you get the gist. So there you go. All right, so look at this. Judas Priest. Remember, I bought the cassette. I didn't buy the album, but I bought the cassette. And I had a little miniature boombox. But I love this album. From the Helium. The Helium Gets Your Juices Flowing. And that was that song that opened up for Judas Priest. Every tour, every show. With the curtains drawn, you heard the intro of the Helium. And then... what's that song called? Oh, Electric Eye. Yeah, Electric Eye. You Got Another Thing Coming. Take These Chains. Oh, this album is kick ass. But the Helium The Helium sets it all. It's awesome. So look, this is awesome. The Helium. Alright, Judas Priest. So they're getting smarter. They're putting now white font on top of black paper, or the white on black, where you can actually read it. And well, here it is. Here's the interview, or they're talking with them. In another video, I'll be happy to go over this interview, but this issue covers Judas Priest. Alright, again, this is from the Memphis, Tennessee tour. I just call it the Memphis, Tennessee tour, because that was a pro shot, and it's amazing. If you haven't seen it, you're living in the cave. But just type in Judas Priest Live 1982. It'll be from Memphis, Tennessee. There's about 12 to 15 tracks on there. Every single track live performance is awesome. It's great. Alright, more Rob Halford. See the look. See the look. We were always proud to say that we were an heavy metal band. Not an, but a heavy metal band. Right? Heaven and Hell by Split Beaver and Bitches Sin. Okay, raise your hand if you've never heard of or seen or heard Bitches Sin or Split Beaver. Obviously, they must have been popular in the UK and not the US. I've never heard of these. Can you imagine that? Oh, I'm going to go see Queensryche. Who's Queensryche? See, back then, who's Queensryche? Maybe they weren't even formed yet. Maybe they're playing the clubs. Maybe Jeff Tate is jamming with someone else. Who knows? I don't think there's a Queensryche in 1982. I could be wrong, though. I could be wrong. Alright, but look. Bitches Sin. Hey, Mom, I'll be right back. I'm going to go out tonight. I'm going to go see Bitches Sin. What? And then you got Split Beaver. I'm going to go see Split Beaver and Bitches Sin. Have Lizzie gone disco? Have they split up? Remember Thin Lizzy? Have they gone disco? Phil Lynott spills the beans to Steve Gett. Again, Steve Gett got all the interviews. Remember? All the interviews. The Rods. Remember, you can get the Rods on cassette or album for $3.99. So this is obviously discounted because by then records were $4.99 to $5.99 generally at Tower Records. But $3.99 is a great price for any record back then. So the Rods. I never heard of the Rods. Let me know if you have. Right, yeah, most of the time I am pretty wasted, admits honest Ron Wood of the Rolling Stones. Look at this. This is 1982, and this is what, 43, 44 years later? He's still alive and kicking. Ron Wood, Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, Bill Wyman. Yeah, Bill Wyman, I think, is the bass player. Charlie Watts is the one that passed away. I still think Bill Wyman's there, unless he passed away too. But I think it's Bill Wyman, Ron Wood, Keith Richards, and Mick Jagger are still around. So pretty cool. Alright, look, Samson, the new single, Losing My Grip. More on the Rolling Stones right there. Again, we're just going to glance through this issue. Look at this nice color photo poster. Rolling Stones. Back in the day, you just tear out the little staples right here, and you can put this in your locker at high school or in your bedroom, and just like, you know, guys, that's what guys and girls did. They got these printout posters and just plaster their wall, make their bedroom their own. Everybody had their own bedroom. It was their sanctuary. And you had your side of the room if you shared it with a brother. And if you had your own room, it was your sanctuary. You had all your posters or albums, skateboards, whatever the pop culture was back in the day. You had it in your room. Toys, music, automobiles, model airplanes, whatever. You probably had it all. Look, Mick Box. You're like, Tony, who's Mick Box? Okay, look, Mick Box is from Uriah Heep. So this is a pretty cool poster. So if you're into Mick Box or Uriah Heep, there you go. Alright, here we go. Mayhem. So they moved the Mayhem. Used to be on when you turn the page, you get Mayhem. Oh look, and now this is even better. Black font on light blue background. It used to be white on it used to be black on white. Really small print, couldn't read it. Then white on black, and now they got black on light blue. Pretty cool. And if you want me to go into this, I'll be happy to in another video. Alright, look, tour news. We got Demon. We got Gumps Rusty Nuts. Or Gumps Rusty Nuts. We got the Rolling Stones. More. We got Quartz. Marillion. Saucer. So where are they now? Look at this picture right here. Total early 80s. Alright, who's this? Let me see if I know who this is. Okay, this is Saxon. Okay, so if you were a fan of Saxon, still are, here you go. This is them. And this is them live right there. Again, this is where the staples would have been, and obviously I butchered it, so there you go. All right, contact. You want to get in contact with bands or the record labels, fan mail. This is where you do it. Now the Scorpions were getting to be pretty huge in 81, 82. Can't Live Without You. Here's Blackout. Again, Blackout was awesome. Very heavy. Check out Blackout, the song, the single. Again, the opening riff. Matthias Jabs tipping his hat off to Eddie Van Halen with the dive bomb. It's like the nastiest dive. It's like the equivalent to Eddie Van Halen's dive bomb on Eruption. Just as imposing and impressive. I just love Blackout. With just that dun, 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 dun. And it just sounds so damn, it sounds good. That dive bomb. I have to hear that again. Listen to the dive bomb on Blackout. It's total Eddie. I love this hair. So big hair was starting to come into play. This is 82. So by late 82, 83, you're starting to see some big hair. Not so much hair metal, but around 83, 84, you start to see bands with longer hair and then teasing it up a lot with hairspray. Watch. I'll show you the progression. So here's Dave Dixon gets his ears bent by Hanoi Rocks. Look up early Hanoi Rocks on YouTube and you'll see the image, the clothes, the fashions, and the hair. Great band. In Demon In. We're not just a cold band. Say Demon. Alright, that's a stupid name, I think. But I guess they're trying to be hard and heavy like Iron Maiden, Metallica. But there you go, Demon. Let me know what you thought about Demon. Demon. Alright, who's that? Okay, April Wine. I remember there was a video. I remember just one video on MTV back in the early 80s when MTV came out. 81, 82. There was this one video by April Wine. And I forgot it. I don't know what it is. But I remember the name. It sounded weird, April Wine. And there was one video that was playing on MTV a lot. So if you're, let me know if you're a fan of April Wine. I never got into them, but look at this beautiful Les Paul right here. Look. And these right here are DiMarzio Super Distortion pickups. 1, 2, 3. These are DiMarzio Super... Alright, look at Ted Nugent. He's still trying to be relevant in 1982. Remember, he was big with Cat Scratch Fever in the mid to late 70s. Great guitar player, great songs, great act live. But this is now 1982. So can he hang with the 80s metal scene? He kind of faded and disappeared as 80s metal got bigger and better, and guitar players got more technical and faster and better. So he got kind of like left in the dust. But nevertheless, Ted Nugent is awesome. Look, Ted Nugent, REO Speedwagon, Good Trouble, Split Beaver, When Hell Won't Have You, April Wine, Power Play. Isn't that cool? So those are the album cuts. The Outlaws, The Hunt, Volts, Bitches Sin. Remember Bitches Sin? Okay, now you can go on YouTube and type in Bitches Sin Predator. I'm sure you'll probably find their band or some singles out there on Bitches Sin. So let me know what you thought about Bitches Sin. Someone out there go look for me. Alright, look, Motorhead. Remember I just did a Kerrang on Lemmy? There he is right there, Motorhead. Very heavy, very heavier than Iron Maiden. Heavier than Metallica. Motorhead was like Fast and Fury. Heavier than Megadeth. Motorhead was like, on fire. Alright, there's the bottom part. Again, excuse that. Concerts. The Electric Gypsies. Jay Giles Band. Jay Giles was pretty big around 80, 81. My Love Runs Cold. Angel in a Centerfold. And then other ones. Oh, I forgot the hit. But they had a lot of big hits. I forgot the damn hit, but Jay Giles Band was good. Alright, we got Stray, we got Mortal Disguise, White Spirit. Look at these band names. Grand Prix, again, Grand Prix was around 81, 82. I still never heard of Grand Prix. So let me know what you thought about Grand Prix. Or White Spirit, or Mortal Disguise. Armed and Ready. We got a band called Buffalo. So this section here That's telling you about these up-and-coming bands, who to watch out for, who they think may make it big, or whatever. Okay, Americade. Look, doesn't this look like, right here, this looks like Vinnie Vincent, right? I don't know who the members are, but that looks like Vinnie Vincent. And this looks like Robin Crosby. Doesn't it? It looks like Robin Crosby of Rat. But Rat was already in the studio, I believe, about to release their EP. But it looks like Robin Crosby, and this looks like Vinnie Vincent right there. So again, Buffalo was probably big in UK. So was Americade, but I don't remember this band or these songs or whatever. Alright, The Life of Brian. He had Summer of '69 and a lot of good hits. This guy is pretty good. He was all over MTV in the early 80s. Again, he survived all of 80s metal, all of 80s new wave, and techno pop and all that stuff. Bryan Adams created a genre for himself. School of Hard Knocks. Alright? After 15 years on the road, Uriah Heep's a new singer, Pete Gelby tells Chaz DeWhaley all he learned in the School of Hard Knocks. Alright, so here is a new singer for Uriah Heep. Spider Status Who? Again, let me know if you ever heard of a band called Spider. This talks about Spider. Alright, again, another group shot here of Spider. Obviously, this looks more like late 70s type of outfits and look as opposed to 80s heavy metal. But this is 1982, so, and they pretty much disappeared. But let me know if you heard of Spider back in the early 80s. Alright, okay, look at this. Is this cool or what? I'm going to blow this up. So look. Look. This is, he still has his guitar, Don Dokken. I'm going to blow this up right now. We can read what it says right here. So Dokken. Look at the hair. Right? This is during the Breaking the Chains album debut. Remember, Tooth and Nail came out in 84. I was fortunate enough to see Dokken in 83. I'm going to blow this up real fast so we can read it together. Alright, here we go, look. Based in Los Angeles, Dokken caused a reasonable stir with their first UK album release titled Breaking the Chains. But they remixed it because it wasn't that great. Yet, despite residing in the States, band leader Don Dokken has strong German connections. Not only was he discovered by an enthusiastic German talent promoter, but he also contributed backing vocals to the Last Scorpions opus Blackout. Dokken hopes to visit England shortly to play selected dates and tie up a major management deal, so keep an eye out for him. And which they did, isn't that weird? So here they are, trying to make it big, but they realized they need George Lynch and Jeff Pilson. Oops, let me get back in there. All right. And here's a little article on Adrian Vandenberg, monster guitar player, Adrian Vandenberg. Right, strictly for connoisseurs, Sammy G exhumes 5 more mothers from the metal mausoleum. Yesterday and Today, that's YNT. Bedlam, I never heard of Bedlam, but there they are. Stars, I never heard of the band Stars. Pirates, I haven't heard of Pirates. And Blackfoot, I think I've heard of Blackfoot, but I've never heard any of these bands or their music. Alright, look at Angel. Remember Angel Witch? Here's Angel, look. Alright, remember Striper with all their, they're all the God, the Bibles, and they wear yellow and black? So Angel is pretty much like before Striper. So before Striper, you had Angel, and look, they're all wearing angelic white. See, there's a reason why. Obviously, that's not going to do well to play 80s heavy metal wearing all white when your cohorts, your peers are playing 80s metal wearing all black leather or jeans and black leather studs like Judas Priest and the costumes. This looks too angelic for me, but again, I never heard of Angel. Maybe they're ass-kicking good. Let me know if you've heard of Angel. Pretty soon I'll probably go to YouTube and look up Angel and see what they sounded like. But there they are. Look at the hair. I love the hair. Look, this is before 80s hair. This is just long hair left over from the 70s. just now more fashionable. But wait till 83, 84, it's teased up higher. Like Craig Goldie. Craig Goldie had the best 80s hair out of everybody. Craig Goldie, look it up. Alright, look, see, angelic white. It's too white. Right, look at Nugent. Look, so Ken Nugent here with Adam Ant. Isn't that cool? Alright, discography. Angel. On Earth as It Is in Heaven. Hell of a band. White Hot. Sinful. Lie Without a Net. Lie Without a Net. So isn't that cool? There's a band called Lie Without a Net. And I thought about, was it Alcatraz or Van Halen? Lie Without a Net. So. Crosswords right here. Win Rob Halford's tour jacket. That's pretty cool, right? Pen Pals, Monsters of Rock, Donington, Saturday the 21st. Look at all these acts right here. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool. Alright. Guitar Heroes. Look at this magazine. From the creators of Sound and Kerrang! The August issue of Fan Library #2 presents Guitar Heroes. 75 all-time guitar greats, including Richie Blackmore, Michael Schenker, Angus Young, Jimi Hendrix, Ken Nugent, Van Halen, Scotty Gorham, Randy Rhoads, Neil Schon, and 66 more. I bet you there's no George Lynch in there. There's no Warren or Jakey Lee. I bet you. Because they weren't discovered yet. Alright, here's your classifieds and pen pals. Okay, look at this. Reading Rock 1982. Look at these bands. Iron Maiden. This is August 27th through the 28th and the 29th. Look, there's my birthday right there. Right, my birthday. So 1982. Iron Maiden. Michael Schenker Group. Budgie. Dave Edmunds. David Johnson, I think. Marble. I don't know this. I can't read that. You got Cheetah, Tigers of Pantang, Trust, Bora Tank, Bow Wow, Marillion, Chinatown, or Spider Tank. That's a lot of bands for that day, huh? I look at Cheetah. Alright, so Cheetah is a girl group. So I didn't know that. Alright, look at Rock Feinstein, The Rods. Let me know if you heard of The Rods. Any music? Are they any good? What do you think about The Rods? Right? Breaking Point. Again, more letters to the editor, and he's going to basically go over the letters. Alright, look. Hair Aid. Let's see what it says here about the hair. Right. I get this feeling that Kerrang is trying to do a number on Motley Crue. I think it's unfair, unnecessary to call Vince Neil's hair limp, lifeless, flat. Actually, his hair looks pretty damn great. Just the way it is. Besides, it isn't really the music we're all concerned about. Right? Granted, Vince Neil's appearance does enhance the spirit of Motley Crue, but he certainly doesn't have to overdo it to be appreciated. And it's not cheap publicity that Motley Crue happens to be reading Kerrang. It's a compliment. Something is wrong that Kerrang has withdrawn its support for Motley Crue, and I think its readers should be told. By Kit Camrath from Arlington Heights, Illinois. So this person wrote to the editor and said, hey, back off on Motley Crue. Alright, look at this. Wannabe Peter Criss? Not Peter Criss. Eric Carr. Was it Eric Carr? So there's some paint. He wanted to be a Kiss drummer. Right, we got The Who. Look at The Who. We got Pete Townsend and Roger Daltrey. We Won't Get Fooled Again. Was that it? Right, and that is the back cover of this issue of Kerrang, featuring Judas Priest and Rob Halford. Again, let me know if you want me to go into a specific interview on any magazines that I've done or will do in the future. I'll be more than happy to. Maybe I'll just do that to surprise you and entertain you. We'll read aloud an interview with a famous guitar player or band or lead singer, vocalist, to see what they were talking about back in the day as metal was progressing in its infancy. Remember, there was hard rock. There was rock and hard rock towards the late 70s. Then it became 80s, or then it became 80s metal or heavy metal, right? I don't think there was heavy metal in the late 70s. There was hard rock. That's what you would call, back then in the 70s, you didn't say Kiss was heavy metal. You say Kiss was hard rock. Led Zeppelin was hard rock. So was Rush and Blowers of Colt and Triumph. Y&T, those were hard rock bands. AC/DC, Judas Priest, hard rock bands. UFO, and on and on. But 1980-81 got a little bit heavier. And because of Eddie, thanks to Eddie, more guitar oriented, more guitar solos, better effects, either on the pedals, effects racks, or amplifiers. You had more to choose from. You had Ampeg, you had Gallion Kruger, you had Marshall, you had Randall, all these other bands, or brand names of amps. So there you have it. There is the November 20th, July issue of Kerrang featuring the legendary Rob Halford. Right? Any questions, comments, and feedback, leave them below. Thanks for joining me here as we go through these old vintage guitar and metal magazines, page by page, just to get a glimpse of the past, reminisce, and remember the good old days of 80s heavy metal, because it's gone, but it's not forgotten. And to show you that, in another video, I will go over my, can you see this? Let's see. There we go. There. I will go over my iPod, with all, my metal bands on here. All my music is in here. Every 80s metal band, every album, is on here. So every 80s heavy metal band, artist, and album is on my iPad. iPod? This is my iPad. This is my iPad. What's the memory on this? 256, I think? Let me see real fast. I don't even know what I have here. Let me look. Well, I got you here. Let's see, about. General. Alright. About. So this is my iPad. This is my iPod Touch. And this holds 256 gigabytes. Yeah, there we go. This is my iPod Touch. This is 256 gigabytes. And this has all, this has every heavy metal band from the mid to late 70s all through the 80s. And every heavy metal band's records. So all of Anthrax, all of Judas Priest, all of Kiss and Dokken, all of Van Halen. And we'll go over this one day so you can see what I have, and I'll share it with you. Alright, so that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you all in the next video. Thanks, everybody.